hello, namaste. Welcome to my YouTube channel Manisha's Content Hub. I'm your Manisha. So today I'm gonna talk about what is user research and methods of user research. Okay, so let's see what is user research. User research is a process of understanding the needs, behaviors, and attitudes of user to inform the design and development of products or services. It involves collecting and analyzing data about users through various methods such as surveys, interviews, and usability testing. So now let's see how to conduct user research. User research can be conducted through various methods such as surveys, interviews, observation, and usability testing. The method chosen depends on the research goals and the resources available. So typically, user research involves defining research objectives, recruiting participants, and creating research protocols, conducting research activities, and analyzing data and reporting findings. So now let's see user research methods. So actually there are several methods. So firstly let's see qualitative research and quantitative research. So in qualitative research we gather insights and observation about users and product. So qualitative methods such as interviews, qualitative usability testing and field studies. Goal of qualitative research is to discover problem in user experience and investigate why the problem is happening and solve the problem. So for example, we can conduct interview to see why the feature that I expected to be popular is not popular. So with the help of our team, we can either phase out that feature or just redesign it. So we can just test it with 5 to 10 peoples. I'll explain why with the example. If there is a pothole in the street and 5 people in the cars are already hitting that pothole, so there is no need of testing more 40 peoples to see what the problem is. So we should immediately fix the problem. So now let's see what is quantitative research. In quantitative research, instead of gathering insights, we gather number of aspects of user experience. We call that number as UX matrix. So in quantitative research, we conduct information by surveys, online polls, and analyzing the poll data. So some quantitative methods are quantitative usability testing. So it collects the usability metrics like time on task, success rate, and error rate. It helps us to keep an eye on the product and make sure to improve it over time. And then secondly, web analytics. So it helps us to understand what the user is doing in our product. And third one is cart sorting. It helps us to discover how people are understanding the product. It helps us to know what percentage of people who put cards in a similar way. So we can get an idea that which part of our app is easy and which part of our app is hard. If the user is finding difficulty in using some feature, then we can redesign it. And fourth one is survey. It helps to understand what the user's attitude and behavior. So in quantitative research, we get open-ended feedback, and in quantitative, we get members of huge response. For example, if we have an MCQ question, so if you are selecting option A or B, it is an quantitative, and if you are giving feedback, then it is an qualitative. So fifth one is A/B testing. It is used to compare that A option is good or B option is good, older version of our app is good or the newer version. So in journal, what I'm saying is that A/B testing method is used to compare two different versions or design options. So the actual designers will usually run A/B test once a product is live in order to make ongoing improvements or before embarking on a complete UX redesign. If you want to optimize the layout of a certain web page in order to increase customer purchases, for example, you could test two different versions to see which performs better, or during an A/B test, some of your website visitor will see version A while other will see version B. At the end, you will have a clear option that which version is better. Okay, so now let's see what is user interviews. So user interviews allows you to engage with users one-on-one, either face-to-face or via a video call. and ask questions about particular topic. User interviews focuses on people's perception of a product or process and can be conducted at various stages throughout the design process. So now let's see what is card sorting. Card sorting is used to evaluate or determine the information architecture of a product or system. In other words, how information is grouped, labeled, and organized. As the name suggests, card sorting is done using cards. So the researcher picks a set of topics based on the content they want to include on a website or app. So they write a different topic on each card, shuffle the cards into random order, and then ask the users to sort them into piles. The aim of card sorting is to get users to group information in a way that makes sense to them, thus showing how you might organize your website or app for maximum user friendliness. So, card sorting is letting the group of participants to organize the information architecture as they want, and then will see how many participants share the same opinion, and we will choose that feedback. Like for example, if we have a chocolates, sandwiches, and cakes all in one plate, we will let the user decide how they want to arrange. So some will arrange the sandwich in one plate and chocolates in other plate. So if most of the users share the same opinion, we will choose that as our user feedback. Okay, so now let's see what is surveys and questionnaires. Surveys and questionnaires are ideal for collecting lots of data without investigating too much time and money. Although you will need to think carefully about the questions you ask and spend a bit of time combining to your findings, depending on the focus of your research, you can ask open-ended questions where the user writes their own responses. For example, how do you feel about online dating, or closed questions which require the participants to choose from a set of possible answers. So the main advantage of surveys and questionnaires is that they can be used to reach a large number of participants. Okay, so now let's see what is diary studies. Diary studies look at user behaviors, activities, and experiences over a certain period of time. If you want to investigate certain user habits, for example, at what time of day are people most likely to use my app, or how do people feel when using a certain product or services, and customer journeys, how do users navigate from point A to point B within a given context. A diary study is an effective way of gathering first-hand insights. During a diary study, participants are encouraged to keep a diary or log of their activities based on the specific area of interest. So now let's see what is observation. Observation in a lab or field study, studying how users behave and interact with a product. So it's simply we have to observe the user, how they use a product, that's it. It is same as the usability testing. So in usability testing, participants are brought into a lab one-on-one with the researcher and given a set of things or scenarios that lead to task and usage of specific interest within the product. So in these, the researcher gives the user some part of app to use, and they observe the user that what places of the app is easy to use or what places of the app is actually difficult to use. So after getting the user feedback, we can change the parts that are difficult and make the app easy to use. So now let's see what is field study or contextual inquiry. So the researchers and participants collaborate together in a participant's own environment to uncover about and observe the nature of the tasks and work at hand. So it is same as observation. Here also the user is using the app in front of us and we are actually observing and asking them the questions that like how they are feeling, or is it easy to use, or if they are feeling any difficulty in that, it feels logical, or it's confusing, like that. So now let's see participatory design. So in participatory design, people are asked to draw or design their own best case version of the tool, product, or service in question. So participants are given the design elements or creative materials in order to construct their ideal experience in a concrete way that expresses what matters to them most and why. So now let's see what is eye tracking. An eye tracking device is configured to precisely measure where participants look as they perform tasks or interact naturally with websites, application, products, or environment. So now let's see what is focus group. Groups of 3 to 12 participants are led to a discussion about a set of topics, giving verbal and written feedback to the discussion and exercises. So it is an qualitative research method that includes the study of group of people, their beliefs and opinions. So here we research the participants who have common traits and experiences and get their feedback. So now let's see what is parallel design. So this involves several designers pursuing the same effort simultaneously but independently with the intention to combine the best aspect of each for the ultimate solution. So now let's see what is task analysis. It involves learning about user goals, including what users like to do on your website. It helps us understanding the task users will perform on the site. So now let's see what is use cases. This user experience research method allows the provision of description of how users consider a particular feature of a website. Use cases offer an in-depth look at how users interact with the site, including the steps users take to complete each task. So now let's see what is concept testing. So concept testing is giving user a rough idea of a product or services in order to understand if they would want or need such product or service. So concept testing is a process of using surveys to understand customers' acceptance of a new product idea prior to the introduction of the product to the market. Okay, so I hope you understood all the topics. So I'll meet you in the next video. If you like this video, like, share, subscribe and comment. Okay, so lots of love. Radhe Radhe.